Hey everyone, this is Ashwin here. Welcome back to the part 2 of chat application development using Python. So in this video, we're going to create the socket connection to communicate between both of these applications. And we also need to create the corresponding functions to send and receive the messages and update it in the UI. So now we are going to initialize some of the components for the socket connection. So we will leave some space, and here initialize server connection. So def initialize underscore server. So we will call this function in the main. So after initializing the server, we will call the GUI. So before that, we need to import the corresponding module for that from socket import star. Here also we are going to use some of the components in the socket module. So let's do that now. First, we will initialize the connection. So S equals socket. So AF underscore inet. So this is some of the initialization terms. So if you want to use, you can also import these terms specifically here. But I'm going to use a lot of terms. That's why I just use star to import all the modules. And after that, sock underscore stream. So this will initialize the server. For the socket connection, we have to specify the host and port. So host equals localhost. So we are going to run the application locally. If you want to run the application between devices or between the network means, you have to specify your device network. It can be 192.168.1.5. This may be your current device ID. If some client wants to connect to this device means they need to specify this IP address to connect it. Now I'm going to use some local ID. So this is to use between devices in the same network. Example. Okay. So this will initialize socket, config details of server. So host is done. We have to set up port equals, that will be 1234. You can define any port that is apart from the default port, that is 80, 80, 80, like that. Don't use the default port. You can use some other ports. There are more than 65,000 ports are available for us to use. So I'm just using this port. And after this, we have to initialize the server on this host and port. For that, s dot bind. Here we have to specify host and port. So this will initialize the server, and it can accept up to one client. So this is the number of clients that you can able to accept. So currently I'm just specifying it as one. If you want to change means you can able to change. So this will initialize server, set number of listening, set number of clients. Okay. Now finally, we need to accept the connection. accept the connection from client. So that will be connection comma address equals s dot accept. So finally, we will just return the accepted connection for us to use. So that will be return connection, and that is the initialization of the server connection. We have to set up the same thing for the client. So here also we will initialize the variable for the connection, and after that we have to set up the same thing for the client. I'll just copy this until here and paste it here, and we need to copy the import. So we have imported, socket is initialized, config details is done, host and port, and here we will just connect to server. So for that we will use s dot connect, and we will remove all these things. So this will be initialize client, and we will just call this function here. So we have developed the code for server and the client. So that is done. Apart from this, we have to create other functions, that is to send and receive and update the window. So we will create those functions here. First, we will create the function to send the message. Function to send message. So def send. So here I'm going to get the message from the text box. So that will be message equals text box dot get, and we have to get the starting line. So that will be 0.0. So if you don't know about this arguments, means you don't need to worry. You just use as it is, and end. So after this, so this will get the message and update the chat log. So I will call it as update chat. So this will be the other function we are going to create. So in the update chat, we are going to pass this message and a number. So 0 means it will update as a sender, and 1 means it will update the window as a receiver. So for that, I'm just specifying a number. And after this, we are going to send the message to the client. So send the message. So for that, we are going to use that socket connection. So here, connection dot send message dot encode. So this will be the text message. I'm going to encode the message as ASCII, and it will send it to the client. And after that, we have to update the text box. So text box dot delete, and again the same argument 0.0 comma end. Now this is our send function. So we will do the same for the client. So in the client, we have to replace it by yes, this yes. So here we will just return yes, and yes equals initialize client. So we need to keep these variables in order to access this functions. So the send function is completed. Now we are going to do it for receive. So def receive function to receive message. So here I'm going to use infinite while loop to receive the message continuously irrespective of the sender. So while one try, so this is to handle some exceptions. Now data equals connection dot receive. I'm going to accept up to 1024 bytes, 1024, that is the buffer size. And now message equals data dot decode. Remember, we have encoded the data using ASCII. Now we are going to decode it again. So ASCII. After this, if message not equals an empty string, we will just update chat. That will be message, comma, 1. So this will update the chat as the receiver. So we will just defining some condition in the update chat. We will do it later. Now in the exception, we will just use pass. It will just rerun the loop again and again. If only we will receive the data, it will just update the chat log. So receive is done. Now also we have to do, instead of connection, we will use yes here to receive. We only have to create this update chat. So we will create the function here, update the chat log, def update chat. Now message, comma, state. So now we have disabled the chat log here. Now we are going to enable it again. Chat log. Yes. Chat log dot config. Again, state equals normal. Now we can able to interact with the chat log. Now if state equals 0, that means we have sent a message. So chat log dot insert, we will insert at the end the message that will be you. I'm not gonna specify any name, plus the message that we have sent. In the same way, else again chat log dot insert message, instead of you I'm going to say other, or else you can also able to say server client, but this makes much more sense. So this is done. Now again we need to change the config back to disabled. So chat log dot config state equals disabled. Now we need to view the chat log, like if we have so many messages we have sent, means we have to view it the latest message. For that, y view of end. So this will show the end of the chat log, show the latest messages, update the message in the window. Okay, we have done it for the chat. Let's paste it here. So we have done this. Now we have to call the functions appropriately in the GUI. So first, for the server, for the send button, we will update a command equals send, and we need to do the same for client. So send, I think let's run it and check. I think we have to declare some global variables about this chat log and the text box, some of the buttons. So, so to run this applications, I have to use some terminal and the Python. Okay, it's just running. I'll just stop it here. Now I can able to access it. So I'll just have a command prompt and create another one. So this is one command and this is another command. So here Python server application.py, run this. Now it is waiting. In this PowerShell, again Python client. So as you can able to see, it creates both the window. Now type it, send. See, it's not working. So it says text box is not defined because it's not, it is like a local function. So we have to pass the text box to the function, or else you have to make the text box as a global variable. So now let's stop this. Okay, we have stopped both of them. So far, we have created all the functions. So apart from this, we have to receive the data all the time. For that, we have to import a separate module, that is from import underscore thread. So using this module, we are going to create a thread that will create a thread for this particular function, and we will be capturing the information frequently. So what it's gonna do is we are going to place the function here before the main loop, create thread to capture messages continuously. So that will be underscore thread dot start new thread, the function name, that is receive, comma, some parameters. We're going to use the same for the other file. We're going to place it here. Okay, place. And here also we need to import underscore thread. And also one more thing, this chat log and this text box is not a global variable, so it can't able to access the chatbot and the text box. What we are going to do is create those variables in the main function, that is chat log equals text box equals none. So it can able to access these variables globally. So this is done for here. Here also we have to declare the global variables. So global chat log, global text box. Now we will do this for the corresponding functions. That is in send, we will need the text box only. And here in the update chat, we will use the chat log. So this is done. So even in the server, we will do the same thing. So we will update the global variables here. So this is for text box and this is for chat log. And finally in the main function, I will just copy the code. Okay, now save this, save this. Let's run the code now. Go to the command. So this is terminal. So I'm going to run it inside the terminal as a separate application. So server is running. Now the client will be running. So these two are the window we have created. Let's say hi. As you can able to see, I sent hi. It's updated in the other server. That is hi. I will say hello client send. So you have sent hello client and it has been updated in the client. That is hello client. If you say hi and press enter means it will automatically disappearing. So you can able to add a separate line for accepting this enter. That is the key. If you press enter means it will automatically call the send function. So right now we have built the chat application with using server and client using all the functions we have done it now. So you can add more stuffs and we can able to display all the messages. Maybe we will just add those line and see it. So the last step we have to do is, so here we will bind the text box. Bind text box to use enter key. So for this text box dot bind, I'm going to use a key that is key release return, that is the enter key. And so here we have to call the corresponding function. I will just call it as press. So we have to create this function now. Here I will just call def press. It has some default parameter that is event. So here I will just call the send function. Send. This will call the send. Now we will do the same for the client. Here, and we will just update this binding in the GUI. So let's save the applications, open the command, the PowerShell, call the server. Now call the client. Client is there, server is there. Let's say hi, press enter. Now it's working. So using enter itself, you can able to send the messages. So now you have built the full-fledged chat application. Just we will just try various things. So see, it's automatically updating. It's not, you can able to scroll and see all the things, and it's automatically sending the message properly without any errors. Like one thing is pending, that is if you press it directly means it's just sending an empty text. When if you send, it's just sending like this. And if you press enter means it will automatically send the carriage written also. So it doesn't matter. You can able to add more conditions and you can able to make this chat application even more better. So this is like a basic desktop application for the chatting purpose. So what you can able to do is you can able to use the this file, that server chat application, in one system, and you can able to use the client in another system and change the host here to the server. That is, if the server device has IP address like this one, you just use the same IP address here, and you can able to connect to that device and you can able to chat as it is. So this is the server and client chat application we have built. If you have any other suggestions to even enhance this application means, please leave a comment below. It will be very useful for others. I will just upload these code files in my GitHub repo, so you can able to access the link in the description. And that's it, guys. If you like this video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe the channel for future videos. See you guys in the next video.